So, how many of you know how we do theming in Flutter? Anyone? Raise of hands in general. Yeah, great. So, this topic will be easy, but there are a few of the points that I'm covering how you can use Master Builder, Master theming as well, and Theme Builder, where you can just export the theme and use into your Flutter application. Okay. Before we start, my name is Shree Bhagwat, and I am CEO of Codemy, which is an app development company. As well as I provide corporate trainings, author and video course creators at multiple websites, and public speaker. That's my Twitter handle. You can follow me, and if you have any questions, you can ask me there as well. I'll try my best to answer all the questions that I guess. Okay. So, with basic general starting question, why do you think we need theme in application? Like anyone, you can just answer. What's the need of theming in our application? Anyone? Okay, so generally, theming we add in the application so that user might feel good when he's using the application. If it is day and dark, these are most of the common themes that people generally use: light theme at the day and dark theme at the night. Okay, and it gives a different kind of UI aspect to your application when you're using an application. And sometimes based on the content that you're viewing, you can also change the theme of your application. So like gamification can be there, or the content that you're viewing, you can change the background theme according to the content that is displayed on your application. That's why theming makes the application more, let's say, appealing to the user's eye. And I feel people generally buy with their eyes. So if the look and feel is good, you will have more downloads, and the more installs will be present for your application. Okay, some of the applications which I feel are good. So this is the current droidcon application. Of course, I have built it. That's why I've added it over here itself. So you can have light theme, dark theme in that application. So it gives two kind of aspects for the application. Then these are some of the applications from India which actually have good user experience and UI which people are using. It has multiple themes as well, and it's light. It's not that heavy to use. And we all know there is this application called as Telegram. And this application has an option where people can customize their entire color palette, what kind of colors they want for the chat, what kind of background they want. So the user who is using this application feels like he's just at home when he is using the application. There is nothing stress or nothing new, and he can customize the application as he want. Even WhatsApp has a place where you can have your own wallpaper in the chat screen as well. Okay. And what some of the bad UI looks like. So here are some of the examples where the text is not readable. It looks crappy, it's bad. And if ever I install an application like this, the first thing I will do is just uninstall it, because it's not at all appealing. It is stressful to the eye. You cannot understand anything. So if your application is having some bad UI, then chances are people might not use your application a lot. So it's always good to at least have a decent, I'm not saying to have a good or very advanced theming, but if you can just support basic, decent UI, it will still help your application. At least people might use it for their use case at least. Okay. Now, what is theme data? Okay. Well, data which defines theme. It's just a basic statement to make it clear for the people who are new into theming in Flutter. So it is just data which we create, which defines each and every aspect that you see on the screen in a part of theme, where when you change it, all the UI element would adapt to the theme data that you have created. Okay. And here's the overview. So defines the visual theme of material app or a widget subtree. So whatever you see on the material app or whatever widgets you have, you can define the visual theme, what you see. Configures the entire app appearance via material app theme property, and customize the material components based on the color scheme and text theme. So you can use a color scheme or text theme to customize your material components, which you will be using throughout your application so that it looks better and it follows one proper scheme, or let's say a proper style throughout the application. So when you're switching screens, or let's say when you're moving from one part of the app to the other part of the app, it doesn't feel like there is something new or something weird happening. It has a proper streamline of navigation and set of the workflow that you're doing in the application. Okay, and the theme data class is pretty huge. I'm not going inside it, but it's just like we have material colors and primary, secondary, ternary, whatnot we have there. And if you want, you can try to remember everything and use it in your application. But we will use easy way how we can customize this theme data and use throughout our application. Okay. Before we move into customizing the theme data, let us first check how the default theme works. Okay, so you can see over here we have a material theme app and we have added a theme data, but right now we're not passing everything. We have just given a basic primary color, nothing much, and then we have a card, and inside that card we have what do we say, argument, where we pass the color. When we do not pass anything in that argument, we just get the default white color. So there is nothing, just plain simple application with just a white background, nothing much, simple, plain, easy. But then I pass a color when I call the card. As an argument, I'm passing colors.amber. It is just a chromish effect. And you can see it's not using the default theme. Now it is using the color that I have passed as an argument inside my application, or let's say inside the card, and then you can see our background is of amber color. But let's say while defining the theme data, I pass the color as pink, and then I don't pass the amber color when I'm creating the card, or let's say when I'm initializing the card. Then instead of taking the card color that I've passing, it is taking the default color that I've given to my theme data. So this is how in general a theme data works. We can create a theme data, and whenever you're not passing any argument, or let's say not passing any property to a widget, it will use the default theme that you have created. Okay. So let's dive into theme. Okay, and over here I'll be strictly talking about material design 3. Okay, how many of you have explored the material 3 over here? Great. So most of the things that we are discussing over here won't support the material 2. So if you try that, there are some breaking changes, your application might crash. So it's better you switch completely to the material design 3. It's good, it's easy, it's light, and there are a lot of things that you can do. So what are we going to cover today? So first of all, color schemes, how you can generate different kind of color schemes. Then static and dynamic color scheme. What are static color scheme? What are dynamic color scheme? Button state. Like now we have a material state property for buttons, and how you can have different colors as per the state of the button. Okay. Then theme extensions. How we can use theme extensions to create just a minute alteration in your theme and use it just for a minute part in your entire application. Then animation styles, how we can use different kind of animation styles into our theme. And at the end, I'll show a theme builder. It's a website where you can create the entire theme and you can export that and use into your application directly. Kind of a code generation for theme. Okay, excited? Yeah, great. Okay, so the color system. Okay. Now, color system means how your application generally has the look and feel, how the colors are aligned, what kind of colors you will see on the app bar, what kind of colors you will see on the button, how the text would be. Everything that you see with your eye over here will come under the color scheme. And then we have a light theme and a dark theme, or you can have your multiple theme as well, like red, blue, green, whatever suits your eye or your UI developer has designed for you. Okay, so the color system creates accessible personal color schemes, communicating your product's hierarchy, state, and brand. Okay, now what does the material color include? So first of all, it's a built-in set of accessible color relationship. Now accessible means that the colors that are in the material color, they would be easily readable on a dark as well as light background. Okay. So the switch will be automatically, you don't have to create a separate light and dark theme. If you use the material color, they are adaptable to light and dark backgrounds. So that is what accessible color means over here. Now it has 26 plus color rules mapped to material components. Of course, we will see what are color rules in future. Now, built-in dark theme colors, as I've said, there are accessible colors. So the dark theme is built in internally when you use material colors. And we have a static baseline color with a default color assigned to each color rule. Now, a static baseline means you give just one color, and on that one color, it will generate an entire color palette for you according to your app's requirement. And dynamic color features include user generated and content based color. So we are going to check all these one by one as well. Okay. So we said color rules, like what are color rules over here. So when you see any UI on the screen, let's say there is a card or there is a widget. So you just see a widget on the screen. So the color which is filled inside that widget, that is called as the color rule. So it is a connecting tissue between the element of UI and what color goes into them. So color rule decide what color will go into a widget. It will decide what color will go into a button. Okay. And this decision is done by the number of paint by number on canvas. So how each and every element is arranged on a canvas, according to that number, the color will be assigned to that element or that widget. Okay. And it is mapped as per the material components that we have created. So let's say app bar is, for example, I'm saying number 1, and then we have a card which is number 2, then the color rule will assign number 1 color to the app bar and number 2 color to the card widget that we have created. Okay, and it ensures accessibility. Like material 3 is focused a lot on accessibility and animations over here, and they are tokenized. So token replaces the static values. So when a color is tokenized, we get a range of colors, and according to the depth of the token, the colors are segregated as per from left to right. Like the left is the darker part, and the the left is the darker shade, and the right one is the lighter shade as we move towards the right. Okay. So baseline. Now baseline is the default static color scheme. It uses accessible colors pairing and includes colors for both light and dark theme. So you can see there's an image on the screen. Okay. So I've just given a purple color, a light purple color shade when we created this theme, and the entire baseline created the color scheme from all the colors that you can see. So there is light pink, there is pink. So all the colors and hues are created by material component. I didn't have to do anything. Okay. And moreover, it works on light theme. So this is the baseline color for light themes. You can see on primary, like it's purple. So I gave the purple primary color over there. Then it created on its own the secondary color, the tertiary color, and the error. Of course, we generally have error in red. Then we have on primary. So on primary means wherever you're using the primary color, whatever is present on top of that primary color will have on primary color. Okay. So let's say the background is purple, then on primary it's white. Okay. Then we have a primary container. So let's say example, you have a primary theme and then you create a container, and generally the containers are white, but over here the container will be light purple. Okay. And whatever you write on top of that container, that would be in dark purple. So that is on primary container. So I hope you guys understood this graph or diagram, whatever it is. And then we have this secondary, tertiary, and on error as well. And as we move down, we have just a small monochrome if you just want to have how the surface feels. So surface means whatever is on top of any container, or let's say any text field that you have. Whenever you're using hint or divider, over there they generally use the surface colors. Okay. And the same goes on the dark theme as well. So we have the same color is given as a baseline color, and depending on the dark theme, it has created the primary, secondary, tertiary, and on error. Okay. Great. Now let's come to the dynamic color. Now in dynamic color, there are two parts. One is user generated color and one is content based color. Now user generated as in, okay, both are dynamic. So like we don't have any control what kind of colors is going to generate. Okay, but user generated means whatever is the wallpaper of your device. Okay, the application will have a color revolving more or over front and less to the wallpaper of your device. So let's say if you have a red color or a purple color wallpaper, you will have a design which will have more over of a purple or reddish color schemes. Okay, this is one. And the content based color means when you're using the application, whatever content you have present on that screen, according to that the application's app bar, or let's say the floating action buttons, will take color according to that. So these two are dynamic colors. So this, you can use this into your application, which might feel good. And you can use this with a package called as dynamic color. It is packaged from the material IO itself. All you have to do is just call this dynamic color builder and pass the light dynamic color scheme and the dark dynamic color scheme. That's it. And whenever you're using it into your application, it will take the color from either wallpaper or let's say the content that is present on the screen. So for content, I can give an example for a music application. We have album arts, right? According to the album arts, it can create the buttons for buttons and the sliders for your music application, which might feel seamlessly transitioned, like it won't feel that the album art is popping out differently or let's say completely out of box. So that way it might feel good. Okay. And then we can create beautiful color schemes out of this user generated and content generated colors. Okay. Now, let's say how can you choose between what kind of color scheme you want. So on the left hand side, you can see we have a static theme. So static theme, it won't change. It will be as it is. And on the right side, you can see we have a dynamic theme. Now over here in dynamic theme, of course, it's changing. So it means as you change your wallpaper, or let's say as the content on your application changes, that time it might change. If it is a content generation theme, or if it is a user generated theme, it will change according to, as I've explained previously. And a static theme, like you just create the static theme when you're building your application, and it will be constant throughout your application. There won't be any changes if you have not done any changes, of course. Okay. Now, how you can choose what kind of theme you want into your application? It's simple. Both, of course, they have accessible colors. Pre-made for static theme, it is of course pre-made baseline color scheme. So the baseline color is fixed. You have decided according to your designer, and you use that. Colors for now static color scheme, it won't break the Material 2 app. So if you have an application which is following the Material 2 design, of course this will work perfectly fine. It won't break. And the adaptability, it's easy to update the dynamic color in future. So you can shift from a static color to the dynamic color in future. Okay. Now about dynamic color, if you ask me, it is personalized colors that change based on user's wallpaper or let's say in-app content. Ability to use advanced customizations like chroma fidelity to alter the dynamic color output. So you can also alter those chromas and hues into your application, which will alter how your application might look. And of course, user controlled contrast settings. You can have the contrast settings in your app settings, and user can control it, alter it, or change it, however, or the user feels like. Okay. Now, how to make a color scheme? Like we checked what color schemes are, what are different kinds of color scheme. Let's check how to make a color scheme. It's simple from primary color. Like let's say if you have a single color, a primary color, then how can you make a color scheme? It is simple, color scheme from seed. So you give just one color as a seed as a starting point, and you know how a tree grows out of a seed. The material component will create an entire theme for you just from a single color over here. So you give the brightness. I have given mode over here, but it means do you want brightness mode to be light or dark? According to that, the themes will be created. And the seed color here is the primary color. It can be red, blue, green, yellow, whatever you want. And on that, the entire hues and entire shades will be created. Okay. And let's say if you want to do it using a material color as well. So on the left side, we have primary color. And on the right side, we have from swatch. Anyone know what a swatch is? So in simple language, it means a color palette. That's it. Okay. So you give a swatch color, and inside that swatch, you define some properties. For example, brightness dot dark, and then my swatch is just a color I've defined somewhere. It can be anything that you want. Then how you want the accent color, the background color, error color, card color, and it will create the entire theme out of it. Okay. Now, how is this color scheme generated? Of course, I have told multiple times that it will generate a theme for you, it will generate a scheme for you, but how it is actually generated, what happens behind, that is also important, okay? So first of all, we feed a source color. So over here, my primary color and my swatch color are the source color that I am feeding to the algorithm, the material component algorithm, or let's say we can call it as material color utility, okay, the MCU. And with dynamic colors are generated. How they are generated? The algorithm generates first key colors. Okay, there are 5 key colors that the algorithm will generate depending on the primary color that you have given, and it will manipulate its hue and chroma to generate more shades and more 5 colors. So over here you can see I have given a green color, let's say, as a primary color, and then it generated the 5 complementary colors from that. So it's primary, secondary, tertiary, neutral, and neutral variant. These are created over here. And after that, it alters its hue and contrast to create a range of colors. And again, it follows the same pattern. On the left, we have darker shades, and on the right, we have lighter shades. Okay. So you can use whatever color you want. So let's say you can use primary shade 80, then it will be like the 80th part in the primary color, as well as secondary or the tertiary part. Okay, and these are called as the tonal palettes. Okay, this is a tonal palette that is created by material swatch for us that we can use. And these tones are applied to different rules. Same, it follows the same thing again, which is primary, secondary, tertiary, and error. And how things you will see, like for example, if it is primary, then on primary we will get the on primary color. It's basic similar that was previously present over there. Okay. Then now coming to the button state. Previously we just had a simple button state where we used to just give the background color and the foreground color for our applications. It was red, blue, or disabled, simple. But now with Material 3, we have different state for widget. Let it be elevated button or a text button. You know, previously we had, I think, raised button, but now that's deprecated because raised button doesn't have this button state. Okay, so it was deprecated, but now with elevated button and text button, you can have this button state. And whenever you're defining a theme, you can define the theme according to the state of the button. So let's say there are 5, I think, yeah, enabled, disabled, hovered, focused, and pressed. I don't think I have to explain the state. It's simple, like when it is enabled or disabled, okay? So when you're creating a theme, you can have separate state for each button, and then when the user is interacting, the button will behave according to this state. So this is an elevated button which I have created. And instead I've used, in style, I've used button style. I've given a basic border radius of 8 just to have a nice look. And then instead of background color, what I've done, like generally we used to just add colors.red or colors.blue, whatever we want. But now I have used material state property resolve with, which gives us all the state in a callback function over there. And I can check if state contains material.disabled. Over here you can see I've highlighted the box. Then we will get the disabled state over there. If it is pressed, like when we pressed the button, that time the pressed state will be returning back a color which is blue. And then if I hover a button, I will get, I think it is red. And if nothing is happening, then it will be green. Of course, you can have multiple states over here, like which I explained previously over here, like focused and disabled. I haven't used them right now, but it's fine. And you can see there is this button, and when I hover, the color changes over here. And when I press, it gives me the blue color. Okay, so we can have multiple state. Not just this, if you want, you can also add images over here. Okay, you can use GIFs as well. So you can alter the button completely as you want. Right now, I'm just playing with colors, just to give you a basic hint how it is. Okay. Now we have explored this, but coming to the last part, like how to use this, like a lot of stuff, but how we are going to use this into our application. And even with all of this theming, we still have to define theme separately and use separately at separate widget. And let's say if you want to do a small change somewhere, you'll have to do that changes at multiple places, and it's chaos. It's difficult to manage, and a lot of issues come. And for that, we can use theme extensions. So theme extensions enable us to build customizable UI components that adapts to the app's main theme. So we have a main theme, okay, which is running throughout the application. And if you can create a theme extension which will just extend the main theme, and you can alter that extension and use that extension wherever you want. And that part where you're using the extension can behave a bit differently or separately, I can say, without creating any changes or alteration into your main theme of the application. Okay, this way you can reuse components across your app and easily switch themes. It helps to easily switch themes and do the changes required for the widget that you want to particularly change. Okay, so how can we create a theme? So I'm creating a shadow theme. Let's say I want an app box shadow. I've created a class called as app box shadow, which extends the theme extension, and of course the type is again app box shadow. I have created two variables. One is the black shadow and one is the blue shadow. So at some places I want black shadow for the card, and at some places I want blue shadow. I have defined a constant below how the black shadow and the blue shadow will be. We can also have your dark theme. I haven't defined dark theme right now, but yes, there is a function where you can define dark theme. You can also create your copy width. So let's say if you want to just alter even more further, you can use the copy width function over there. And then we have lerp. I hope you guys know what lerp is, right? Let's say there is a transition between a dark theme and a light theme. Then lerp is something which creates the interpolation between light and dark. So it doesn't happen that your application will directly jump from a light theme to a dark theme. You will find bit grayish part in between, right? So that is lerp. It is completely created by material, Flutter itself. You don't have to go deep down into lerp, okay? But having a lerp property makes the transition from a light theme to a dark theme seamlessly. It's not like you won't find a jump in changing the themes, okay? That's why lerp is important, okay? And how to use this extension. We created the extension, and now let's check how we can use it. So first we have this, we define a theme data, okay, theme data. Then we add the primary color, we add the brightness. We haven't defined the dark theme, that's why I've used just brightness.light. And after that we have an array which takes extensions. So in that array I have added both the extensions, so app shadow and app box shadow dark, okay. And after you add those extensions, you can use those extensions into your application. So generally, people after creating extensions, they just call the extensions. For example, we have a decorated box, and inside the decorated box, inside the box shadow, we just use theme of context extension where we initialize the extension there itself, okay. But I advise not to do, of course, this will work. It's not like it won't work, but it's still, I would advise not to do it this way. Instead, you create an extension. So extension theme data extension on theme data. You create a separate extension over here, and then you create a getter function inside it, which will help you to get the values directly. So you don't have to initialize it again and again. You can just use the getter value to get the theme, and of course, how you use it normally inside the box, you can use it over here as a decoration box, okay. Now, coming to the theme animation style. So previously when we were having different animations, or let's say different switch into the themes, we were not able to control how the transition should be or what kind of transition you want. But now after Flutter 3.19, we can also control the transition and the time duration it takes to transit from one theme to other theme, okay. So when you're defining your material app, we have a new property called as theme animation style, which takes an animation style. Okay. Now over here, I have passed a curve. I hope you all guys know what curves are, right? Yeah. Yes. So right now I've just used bounce in curve, and I've given a duration, let's say, of 1 second. I think by default it is 500 milliseconds. I have just increased the duration over here. And of course, we have a reverse duration. So once you're switching to a theme and then you're switching back. So like front, so it's normal curve and reverse curve as well. So bounce in, ease in, and reverse duration and normal duration. So after adding this theme styles to our application, I just did a refresh, and now you can see the transition, it has been slowed. So previously it was, if you check this slide, okay, so here the transition is happening quickly because there is no animation, there is no custom animation given to the transition. But here, if you see now, the transition is happening very slowly. Why? Because I have given a 1 second duration. So you can control the duration of your theme switching, as well as you can change how the switch should be. If you want ease in, ease out, or if you want it to bounce, however you want, you can play with it. Okay. And coming to the last part, I guess, we have a theme builder. Now, of course, we have seen everything over here, and it's actually difficult when you have to create each and every element out there. We need imagination, we need creativity, and it gets difficult to imagine what you want to create. And it would be easier if we had a UI layout where you can just play and generate a theme, right? So Material Theme has created this website over here where you can just play along, okay? And of course, I will give the link here. So let's say there is this source color. I want this as the source color over here. And my primary color, it generates a primary color for us. I can click color match. It will match all the colors that are present in this background over here. So it is generating dynamic color, okay? And we can add extended colors. We can add your own colors if you want. So let's say there is this custom color that I've added. I can add one more color. Let's see. Yeah, fine. Let me delete this. Okay. So this is the base. This is how the application UI might look. They have given a basic user UI element for you. You can choose how the medium contrast will look. We can also choose how the high contrast hue will look over here. Okay. Buttons and everything is given over below. We have the light scheme as well. We have the dark scheme. Everything is present. And you can actually play with this. Okay. If you want, you can do whatever changes you want. We can come to pick fonts. I will choose system defaults. Let's say, okay, Montserrat. Bodies and label, I'll choose anything, Google Fonts, and export theme. And when we click on export theme, we get an option like, do you want it for Android View? Do you want it for Jetpack Compose? Or do you want it for Flutter? Like, we are developers in Flutter, so I will click Flutter over here. And then it exports this material theme. Of course, I've downloaded one before just to check if it's working or not. And if I just extract it, you will get an entire application which has a complete theme over here. Not this. Okay. This main.dart is different. Okay. Then we have this theme. Now, this theme has all the theme data that you have created usually on the web, and all you have to do is just use this theme data into your application. Just initialize this material theme and you're good to go. You don't have to do anything much. And you also have this utilities folder which creates a text style for you. How you have created the text and you have selected the font. On that basis, it will create a text style for you. And I guess this was, okay, yeah. Yes, this is the theme builder, and you can export that theme data and then it creates a complete theme data for you, and you can use that into your application. So again, to revise from the start, we covered why theming, because people buy with their eyes. Color system, then we checked what color roles are, baseline colors, user generated colors, then static dynamic color scheme. In button state, we covered what is hovered, enabled, pressed, and multiple kinds of the different states of the button. Then we check what theme extension is and how to use theme extension and what lerp was. Then we check animation styles, how you can change the animation between switch of themes. And then we checked theme builder and how you can export theme from that theme builder part. Any questions? No? Great. Maybe I was able to explain properly, or maybe very badly that you don't have any questions. Yes. Okay. Again, my name is Shree. This is my Twitter handle. You can follow me. You can ask any questions regarding theming or in general regarding Flutter. I'll try my best to answer how much I can. And that's it. Thank you, guys. You have been a lovely audience. Thank you.